On the occasion of 75th anniversary of independence, the country is observing the Amrit Mahotsav of Independence. The Har Ghar Tiranga Anthem is part of this festival. Sansad TV appeals to you to join the celebration of independence by unfurling the tricolor in your houses too.
Har Ghar Tiranga, Har Ghar Tiranga, Har Ghar Tiranga, Har Ghar Tiranga. Ghar Ghar Tiranga, Rath Ghar Tiranga, Gharo Ghari Tiranga, Pratyek Ghari Tiranga.
Namaskar, good evening viewers. It is 9 p.m. and you are watching the news on Sansad TV's live broadcast. I'm Rajiv Kumar Singh. A roundup of all national and international news over the next 30 minutes. We are beginning with the headlines. Prime Minister Modi meets the Commonwealth Games Indian contingent, says nation is entering Azadi Ka Mahotsav riding high on the achievements of sportspersons. Har Ghar Tiranga campaign begins to commemorate 75 years of India's independence. The Prime Minister says he is overjoyed to see the fervour for the campaign. Himachal Pradesh bans mass conversion. Amendment bill passed by voice vote to increase punishment from 7 years to 10 years for the offence. After the US Senate, House of Representatives approves the landmark healthcare and climate bill, $430 billion economic package to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and reduce cost of medicines. Author Salman Rushdie on ventilator after being grievously wounded in a knife attack in New York. Celebrities across the world condemned the incident as an attack on freedom of expression. Now a quick look at some other important news of the day. RBI asks financial institutions to ensure loan recovery agents do not intimidate or harass any person, either physically or verbally, for their debt collection efforts. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh unveils the statue of Veer Durgadas Rathore at Salwa Kala village in Jodhpur. Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal calls upon people to use goods made in India, urges everyone to take message of a Swadeshi and self-reliant India forward. Union Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh unveils India's first saline water lantern that uses the seawater to power specially designed LED lamps. Punjab government's One MLA One pension scheme cleared by Governor Banwari Lal Purohit scheme will allow government to save crores in state revenues. 11 more wetlands added to the list of Ramsar sites, taking total of up to 75 in the country. ISRO receives wishes from Italian astronaut Samantha Cristoforetti for Gaganyaan program. Gaganyaan program scheduled to launch in 2023. Supreme Court gives go-ahead for Noida Supertech Twin Tower demolition scheduled for 28th of August. Kashmiri IAS officer Shah Faisal appointed Deputy Secretary in the Ministry of Culture. Faisal had earlier resigned from bureaucracy in 2019 to float his political party to join politics. Sri Lanka allows entry of controversial Chinese ship despite India's concerns. Now news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted and felicitated the Indian contingent which participated in the Commonwealth Games and returned with 61 medals for the nation at his residence today. The Indian athletes produced a sensational show in Birmingham, claiming 22 gold, 16 silver and 23 bronze medals. The Prime Minister said that the real assessment of the performance cannot be assessed by mere number of medals India won, but how well did the Indian athletes compete. The Prime Minister was confident Indian athletes would make up for any competitive difference with athletes of other nations in coming events.
इस बार का जो हमारा प्रदर्शन रहा है उसका ईमानदार आकलन सिर्फ मेडल की संख्या से संभव नहीं है। हमारे कितने खिलाड़ी इस बार नेक टू नेक कम्पीट करते नजर आए, ये भी अपने आप में किसी मेडल से कम नहीं है। ठीक है कि 0.1 सेकंड 0.1 सेंटीमीटर का फासला रह गया होगा, लेकिन उसे भी हम कवर कर लेंगे, ये मेरा आपके प्रति पूरा विश्वास है।
The Prime Minister also said that we have the responsibility of making a sporting system which is the best in the world, and further added that it is just a start and we are not going to just sit quietly, and that the golden period of Indian sport is knocking on the doors. The Har Ghar Tiranga campaign to mark Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav kicked off today, with people across the country proudly hoisting the tricolor at their homes. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said every Indian is happy to see the tricolor waving in the water, land and sky of the country. Expressing joy at the amazing response to the Har Ghar Tiranga movement, Prime Minister Modi called it a great way to mark Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. He also asked everyone to share their photos with the Tiranga on harghartiranga.com. The campaign, initiated as part of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav to commemorate India's 75th anniversary of independence, will go on till August the 15th. Union Home Minister Amit Shah on Saturday hoisted the tricolor at his residence in the national capital as part of the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign. He also appealed to citizens across the country to do the same from 13th to 15th of August. He said that Tiranga is our pride, which unites and inspires every Indian. Shah also said, paid tributes to the fallen heroes. He also called upon the people to upload their photos with the tricolor on harghartiranga.com and inspire others. Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla attended a Har Ghar Tiranga event in Kota in Rajasthan as the chief guest. Addressing the gathering, Birla said that youth are playing a key role in New India.
मेरी क्षमता से अधिक काम कर मैं इस देश को आगे ले जा सकूं, ये सपने आप सबके हैं और इस सपनों को पूरा करने के लिए हमें आजादी का इतिहास, उनकी गौरव गाथा हमें प्रेरणा देती है.
Union ministers and many others leaders also hoisted national flags at their homes in response to Prime Minister Modi's clarion call of Har Ghar Tiranga. BJP President JP Nadda also hoisted Tiranga at his residence. He also appealed to the people to do the same. Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath also hoisted the national flag at his residence in Lucknow. He also flagged off a Tiranga Yatra. Elaborate arrangements are in place ahead of the 75th Independence Day celebrations at Red Fort, from where Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the nation on Monday. Tri-services personnel and NCC cadets participated in the full dress rehearsal today. Military helicopter showered flower petals as the national flag was hoisted at the rampart of the Red Fort. A multi-layered security cover has been put in place and facial recognition system cameras installed at the entry point of the Red Fort. Around 7,000 invitees are expected to arrive at the Red Fort, while over 10,000 police personnel will be deployed. A 5-kilometer area around the Red Fort has been marked as a no-kite flying zone till the tricolor is hoisted. Anti-drone systems, high-resolution security cameras are also being installed. Now, let us take a look at some stories that are making the news across the nation. A fifth case of monkeypox has come to light in Delhi. A 22-year-old African woman was found infected with monkeypox. The woman had traveled to Nigeria last month. The Jammu and Kashmir administration dismissed from service 4 employees, including the son of banned terrorist organization Hizbul Mujahideen chief Sayyid Salahuddin and wife of Bitta Karate, and accused in the terror financing case. Corporate tax collections levied on the income of companies increased by 34% in the first 4 months of the current financial year. The Income Tax Department released the figures of the increase in collections for the period of April to July. There has been an increase of 11.51% in exports in the month of July. Last July, total exports were $54.87 billion US. In the April and July quarter, the export of goods and services stood at $253.84 billion US. DGCA has issued new guidelines to protect aircraft from bird collision. Under the new guidelines, pilots must be informed about any kind of wildlife activity and regular patrolling in and around the runway. Union Minister of State for Jal Shakti, Bisheshwar Tudu, reviewed the implementation of a Jal Jeevan mission in Meghalaya and directed to ensure supply of tap water to every rural household before March 2024. One of 2 ships built by Cochin Shipyard Limited for the Andaman and Nicobar administration was commissioned on Saturday. The commissioned ship has been named Atal. The 8th edition of Malabar River Festival was organized in Kozhikode district in Kerala. After 2 years, the festival was put off due to the COVID-19 pandemic. A dam wall being built on the Karam River, about 35 kilometers from Dhar district, headquarters of Madhya Pradesh, has posed a threat due to leakage of water and soil falling from the wall for the last 2 days. NDRF team have reached the spot for disaster management, and 2 helicopters of the Air Force have also been kept ready for rescue operations. 18 villages have been evacuated. 16,000 new COVID-19 cases were reported in the last 24 hours. The number of patients under treatment has come down by over 4,000, taking total number of patients under treatment to 1,19,264. Let's take a short break here. On the other side, FBI recovers classified documents from former U.S. President Donald Trump's Florida residence in probe into suspected violation of Espionage Act.
It's a very glorious moment of us, our country. I salute to all great martyrs who were sacrificing their valuable life for our Indian independence. I salute to all. I salute to brave martyrs. Jai Hind.
Welcome back. Time now for all the big developments from the Russia-Ukraine war front. Russian forces continue to attack multiple Ukrainian military targets as battle intensifies in the southern part of the country. Russian Defense Ministry said that Russian forces destroyed several command posts of the Ukrainian army, multiple fuel depots and ammunition depots in Kharkov region of Donetsk. Ukraine's military said its artillery hit a Russian ammunition depot near a key bridge in the south on Friday. They also said that they now had the ability to attack nearly all of Moscow's supply lines in the occupied region. The military said the attack killed 11 Russian soldiers in the depot in the village of Bhosle near the Russian-occupied Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. Ukraine's health minister has accused Russian authorities of blocking access to affordable medicines in areas its forces have occupied, calling it a crime against humanity. Viktor Lyashko said Russia has not allowed a proper humanitarian corridor for providing state-subsidized medicines to the patients that need them. The destruction of hospitals and infrastructure has also interfered with medical services. Satellite images taken on Friday showed scorch marks on a runway and surrounding vegetation at a Belarusian military airfield. Reports said at least 8 explosions were heard after midnight on Thursday near the Zbyrakova military airport. Belarus, a close ally of Russia, said the blasts were caused by a technical incident. Ukraine has declined to publicly claim responsibility for the explosions while also not denying it. The first grain-laden ship from Ukraine after the landmark grain deal is headed to Egypt after staying at the Turkish waters for almost 10 days. The ship carrying 26,000 tons of corn left the Ukrainian port of Odessa on August 1st. Meanwhile, the Fulma S cargo vessel carrying 12,000 tons of wheat left the Ukrainian port of Chornomorsk on Saturday. Another ship with 2,900 tons of sunflower seeds also left Ukraine for Turkey on Saturday morning. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for a travel ban for all Russian citizens. He added that citizens of a terrorist state shouldn't travel for tourism, entertainment or business affairs. He also praised Latvia's parliament, which on Thursday declared Russia a state sponsor of terrorism. Time now for some other global updates. Author Salman Rushdie was stabbed in the neck and abdomen at a literary festival in New York, US on Friday. The 75-year-old author is on ventilator. Reports say that he could lose an eye. The nerves on which arm were severed and his liver was stabbed and damaged.
Salman Rushdie, whose novel The Satanic Verses drew death threats from Iran in the 1980s, has been stabbed in the neck and abdomen by a man who rushed the stage as the author was about to give a lecture in Western New York. Police identified the attacker as 24-year-old Hadi Mutter of Fairview, New Jersey. The state police said the motive for the stabbing was unclear. 75-year-old Rushdie was flown to a hospital and was undergoing surgery. An eyewitness described medics rushing to the scene after writer Salman Rushdie was stabbed by an audience member before a lecture in Western New York on Friday.
The two Chautauqua people who were on the stage with him immediately rushed to the attacker, and people jumped onto the stage from the audience to the point where there were probably 20 people on stage pulling the attacker off and keeping him contained. They called for medics at that point, and there happened to be at least 4 physicians in the audience who were able to come up on stage and help until the life squad arrived.
A year after Rushdie wrote the satanic verses, Iran's late leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini issued a fatwa in 1989 calling for Rushdie's death. Iran has also offered over $3 million in reward for anyone who kills Rushdie. Khomeini died that same year. Iranian officials have not yet made a public comment. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
FBI agents who conducted a search of former U.S. President Donald Trump's Florida home earlier this week removed 11 sets of classified documents. Some of them were marked as top secret, the Justice Department said on Friday. The probable cause of the search is suspected violations of the Espionage Act. The FBI recovered documents that were labeled top secret from former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Florida, according to court papers on the unprecedented search this week. The property receipt, unsealed by the court, shows FBI agents took 11 sets of classified records from the estate during a search on Monday. The seized records include some marked not only top secret but also sensitive compartmented information, a special category meant to protect the nation's most important secrets that, if revealed publicly, could cause exceptionally grave damage to U.S. interests. The court records did not provide specific details about information the documents might contain. The warrant says federal agents were investigating potential violations of 3 different federal laws, including one that governs gathering, transmitting or losing defense information under the Espionage Act. The other statutes address the concealment, mutilation or removal of records and the destruction, alteration or falsification of records in federal investigations. The property receipt also shows federal agents collected other potential presidential records, including the order pardoning Trump ally Roger Stone, a leather-bound box of documents and information about the President of France. Trump's attorney was present at Mar-a-Lago when the agents conducted the search. In a statement earlier Friday, Trump claimed that the documents seized by agents were all declassified and argued that he would have turned them over if the Justice Department had asked. Bureau Report, Sansad TV. At least 11 people were killed by an unknown assailant in the central city of Sitinze in Montenegro on Friday. It is one of the deadliest violent incidents in the country. The shooter was killed by a local resident. 2 children are among the deceased.
11 people were shot dead and 6 injured when an assailant opened fire on passers-by in Montenegro on Friday. Amongst the fatally wounded victims was a police officer who attended the scene. Local news broadcasters reported that the attack took place in the Medovina area of Cetinje, near the seat of the former royal government, and the attacker was killed after a confrontation with local police. 4 people were hospitalized in Cetinje, while 2 of the wounded were transported to the clinical center. According to unofficial information, the assailant was a 34-year-old man who opened fire at children, and also that part of the city where the attack took place was blocked off due to increased police presence. Eyewitnesses said that the attacker went through the settlement and randomly shot at the citizens. Bureau Report, Sansad TV.
Now let us take a look at some more stories from around the world. U.S. House of Representatives gave its approval to climate, tax and health legislation. Speaker Nancy Pelosi moved the bill to President Joe Biden's desk. The bill was passed with 220 to 207 votes, clearing its way in U.S. House as well. The bill provides the largest ever investment by Congress in curbing carbon emissions, reining in pharmaceutical costs and taxing large companies. The bill was earlier cleared by the Senate after a tie-breaking vote by Vice President Kamala Harris. Thousands of people gathered in Seoul to protest against the joint US-Korea military exercise. The protesters also called on South Korean government to suspend its hostile policy towards North Korea and China. They demanded the government to suspend military cooperation between Seoul and Washington and push for peace treaty and cooperation with Pyongyang. Protesters later marched towards the presidential office after taking part in a protest. SpaceX launched 46 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit in its Falcon 9 rocket from Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. This is the second time this week that SpaceX launched its Starlink internet satellites that will form a constellation of satellites in the low Earth orbit designed to provide internet connectivity across the globe. Pakistani authorities revoked broadcast permit for a private television station after an opposition leader incited troops and officers against the military leadership. The channel was taken off air following the interview. The TV station's new director, Ahmad Yusuf, was detained following the interview but then later released after an outcry from a media watchdog, rights defenders and top opposition leaders. Firefighters from across Europe came to France's rescue to battle a massive wildfire. Successive heat waves renewed the focus of Europe on climate change risks. High temperatures and worsening drought brought new fires breaking out in Gironde in southwestern France. The wildfire that has been burning for days scorched thousands of hectares and displaced 10,000 people. Time now for all the sporting action. Seven-time Ballon d'Or winner Lionel Messi was omitted from the 30-man list of nominees for the prestigious award for the first time since 2005. Novak Djokovic pulled out of the next week's hardcore tournament in Cincinnati because he has not gotten any COVID-19 vaccine shots and so it is not allowed to travel to the United States. Hubert Hurkacz entered the semi-final of the Montreal Masters after defeating Nick Kyrgios in 3 sets, 7-6, 6-7, 6-1. Brazil's Beatriz Haddad has continued her impressive run at the Toronto Masters after scalping world number 1 Iga Swiatek. Haddad defeated number 12 seed Belinda Bencic 2-6, 6-3, 6-3 to enter the semi-finals. Javelin throw world champion Anderson Peters has reportedly been beaten up and thrown from a boat in his country of Grenada. That's all in this bulletin for now. We leave you with the images from across the nation of the Har Ghar Tiranga campaign that started across the country today on the occasion of the 75th anniversary of independence. Keep watching Sansad TV.